Hello there, everyone. Here's some of us heading your way tonight to your news at 9.
The state of Missouri has expanded eligibility for the COVID-19 vaccine to more than 500,000 more residents. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
Plus, an organization issuing a report card on the well-being of Joplin. The local poverty level, cost of housing did not do well.
President Biden is celebrating his $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package becoming law. I'm Ray Bogan with more on what he's planning this week, coming up.
Doug Heddy is weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. The state of Kansas is combining phase 3 and 4 of its distribution plan and will move to the next combined phase this coming Monday. Newly eligible Kansans include people 16 to 64 with medical conditions that increase their risk for serious illness from COVID-19 and Kansans who work in critical infrastructure and can't do their job remotely. The new phase will add around 600,000 Kansans to eligibility for this vaccine. More than 500,000 more Missouri residents are now eligible for COVID-19 vaccines. The state moved to Phase 1B, Tier 3 today, expanding eligibility to those who work in critical infrastructure like education, childcare, manufacturing. KOAM's Zach Dodge has why workers at a local daycare are ready to get their first doses.
Bleach, Lysol, hand sanitizer, and more bleach.
You could smell the Lysol when you came in. Woo, knocks you on your socks.
Tabitha Bailey Wilson and everyone else at Dinosaur Academy in Joplin has been doing all they can to keep themselves and the kiddos they care for safe and healthy. They've taken every safety precaution you can think of and have done it religiously for the last year.
That's a long, long time of wearing masks. But, you know, if that's what protects the kids and protects our families and us, then that's what we have to do.
But now they have more of a spring in their step, excited about what they can finally do.
We all text each other, one more day. You know, one more day, and it'll be Monday's coming. So we're all going tonight after we get off work to go get our shot.
The next phase of distribution has opened up in the state, and the Jasper County Health Department has hit the ground running.
We had one scheduled today and we have another one scheduled on Thursday. Both are booked so far.
Administrator Tony Moore says they're getting regular vaccine shipments and more pharmacies and other vaccinators are getting vaccine. So they're ready to get things done, vaccinating more than 300 people on Monday.
I think there's still some reluctance on the vaccine in some people, and we're hoping that people will go ahead and get vaccinated and help to protect themselves and help to protect the community.
For Wilson, she's getting vaccinated to help protect not just herself, but the kids she cares for and their families, so that all of them can sleep a little bit better at night.
I just want to be able to relax and let our children relax, go back to normal.
In Jasper County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Governor Parson has said he wants to move to Phase 2 in 45 days. It's something Moore says could be done, but they're just going to have to wait and see. We have a breakdown of who's included in the newest tier on the COVID-19 page on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Jasper County Health Department reports 2 new coronavirus-related deaths. Officials say the patients were a man in his 80s, also a woman in her 70s. These deaths bring the county's total to 151. More Americans are getting COVID-19 vaccines, but public health officials say it's still too soon for states to reopen. This comes as a new study suggests schools can safely reopen with just 3 feet of social distancing. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan now has more.
More than 37 million Americans are now fully vaccinated against the coronavirus. New data from the CDC shows most people are receiving their second COVID-19 shot on time. During the first 2 months of vaccination efforts, researchers found 95% of 2-dose recipients received their second dose within the recommended time period. The White House says it will ramp up efforts to educate people about the importance of getting fully vaccinated.
But it's most important that the people who are the local trusted people continue to have the reliable information about these vaccines, and we believe that will continue the pattern that's already begun.
New COVID-19 infections are trending downward as the vaccine rollout ramps up, but public health officials fear spring break and a recent surge in travel could cause another spike in cases.
Cases climbed last spring, they climbed again in the summer, They will climb now if we stop taking precautions.
Meanwhile, the CDC says it's analyzing data that recommends reducing physical distancing guidelines in schools from 6 feet to 3 feet. A study out of Massachusetts schools found increasing distancing requirements did not make a difference in the number of COVID-19 cases among students and staff. Almost everyone studied wore masks.
Once again showed that schools have less of a risk of spreading COVID than communities. This demonstrated it at a tremendous level.
For now, the CDC continues to recommend 6 feet of social distancing in schools. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Doug Hetty is not with me right now. Doug, where are you?
I'm here.
There you are. It's so awkward to see in the prompter 2 boxes, and I just see my ugly self. Not.
Yeah. I was here. Maybe it's just a Monday glitch. Who knows? But hey, yeah. Today we finally got some sunshine out there, so it wasn't too bad. It was extremely windy across the region. 45, 66 was our high. Average high is 60 degrees. Temperatures right now, we're mainly into the mid 40s. It is going to cool down tonight. We're going to drop back to about 40, 42. And thankfully, the winds will start to die down a little bit. They're still kind of breezy, kind of a southwesterly wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But this whole storm system that gave us rain over the past several days is finally moving out, but another one is moving in. That will start to affect us tomorrow night. We'll talk about that here in just a bit.
You know, you have your days too, sir, where you don't look the prettiest.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
All right, man. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Well, every year, Joplin One, it's a local nonprofit, releases a report card of sorts full of community indicators of well-being for the city. This year's report showed low rankings for Joplin. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky identifies Joplin's most pressing issue from this report.
The city of Joplin just received their 2020 community report card with mostly low rankings. The report was done by One Joplin, a private nonprofit that describes himself as the glue bringing together nonprofits, businesses, and government entities to solve community issues. Ashley Micklethwaite, executive director of One Joplin, says the information on the report comes from data mining through local and national public information sources,
such as the Census, Department of Health, the CDC.
This data was then used to display areas where Joplin needs improvements. Each category was ranked using a traffic light system.
Just think about a stoplight. So if it's red, we need to stop. We need to be looking in both directions. If it's yellow, which is a caution, then it could be improving or it could be declining. And then green is, hey, we are on track.
The categories ranged anywhere from health to income to education, where Joplin received mostly red and yellow lights. But the biggest issue Joplin currently faces is housing.
Housing. Safe, affordable housing.
She says to combat this issue, the city needs more social services.
For example, the Economic Security Corporation just finished building and opening up the bungalows. It's that type of work and housing that we need in Joplin.
Debbie Markman, Resource Development Director at the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin, says the city needs to take action.
It would be great if we could get wages up so that folks then could afford their housing themselves.
Markman adds that bringing up lower income neighborhoods will contribute to Joplin's health overall. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Joplin city officials declines to comment about the city's report card. President Biden celebrating the recent passage of his first major piece of legislation, the COVID-19 stimulus package, by taking a victory lap across the country this week. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has the latest on the president's plans.
Shots in arms and money in pockets.
President Biden kicked off his week-long Help Is Here tour, touting the recently passed $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package.
It'll help hundreds of thousands of small businesses keep their doors open, which makes a gigantic difference in neighborhoods and communities.
It's a busy week for the president, vice president, and their spouses. Starting today, they're crisscrossing the country to promote the new law. Vice President Harris headed to Las Vegas, and Tuesday, President Biden will be in Pennsylvania.
To highlight how the rescue plan invests in small businesses, a key component of the package, including minority-owned businesses.
Support for the American Rescue Plan in Congress is divided along party lines. Not a single Republican voted in favor.
One of the worst pieces of legislation I've seen pass here in the time I've been in the Senate.
Democrats are already working on their next legislative proposal, infrastructure. Talk about additional spending comes as stimulus payments began rolling out this weekend.
The most significant federal recovery effort in decades is now underway.
Some banks are already sending their customers stimulus money. Chase and Wells Fargo say they'll start Wednesday. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Fidel Fuentes served in the U.S. Army from 1952 to 54. Native of Parsons, Kansas, Fuentes spent time in several parts of Europe. We are proud to thank and salute Sergeant First Class Fidel Fuentes. He's tonight's 4 state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later in sports, Missouri Southern football preparing for its first game since November 2019.
Well, we finally got the sunshine once again for us today after several days of rain. Really, it rained last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then finally today we got to see the sunshine. So the evening daylight hours are extended now due to daylight saving time, which began Saturday night or Sunday morning. And today was the first day we had sun, so we got to experience that. It was kind of nice for it not to get dark until about 7:30. But of course, we did get quite a bit of rain over the past several days. So for the month, we're sitting at 3¼ inches. For the year, 7½. So we're actually above normal on rainfall-wise by almost 2 inches of rain. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, we had a lot of drizzle, fog. The fog was super thick last night. Visibility is down near 0. And then once that burned off this morning, then we got the partly sunny skies. It was real windy, but it turned out to be a pretty good day. 48 in Iola, 55 Oswego, Miami, 54 in Miami, Carthage at 54 degrees, and super windy today. And we had sustained winds, 15 to 25, gusting of 40, but thankfully the winds have diminished just a bit over the past couple hours, and this whole storm system wrapping up, heading away from us. We had some showers earlier to our north, but these are gone. You can still see a few random thunder showers across eastern parts of Missouri, some snow back through western parts of Nebraska, but this whole system is it's already matured, so it's in its weakening state, and that's why it's sprawled out across half the country. So let's go west. Here's our next system. You can see a little chunk of energy down toward Southern California, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Francisco. That's our next system, which is going to roll in by the time we head into tomorrow night and also on Wednesday. Tonight's going to be okay. A little bit chilly, 42 to start, but a quick warm-up through the 40s, 50s, 60s by noon, up to about 71. So it's going to be a pretty good Tuesday for us tomorrow. Tomorrow night, that's when the clouds will start to increase across the region, and scattered showers and thunderstorms will start to work in, especially after midnight. Some of these could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe, so we're going to watch that tomorrow night. Also, we could see pockets of heavy amounts of rain. Here's Wednesday morning. We still have showers around, but by the afternoon, as the main system passes by, it's going to be kind of interesting because we'll get right on the north side of this system, but we may break out, see a little bit of sunshine, and a few thunderstorms may pop along and south of Interstate 44. Now, in the pattern, this is the same system that we had on January 30th. So if you remember, 45 days ago, we had this system on a Saturday, and it fired off all these tornado warnings on January 30th. So it's this system again, so it has the potential to do that, so something we'll keep our eyes on as we head through the next couple days. Tonight, 42, 71. Tomorrow, 55 tomorrow night, 67 on Wednesday, and then turning colder by Thursday and Friday, and then we start to moderate a bit by the weekend.
Yeah, we lost an hour of sleep, but I'm kind of liking already this extra daylight.
Yeah, I went to Tampa this weekend, so, time change and then losing an hour, I feel way out of sync.
You're doing an awesome job, Doug Heddy. Thank you so much, as always. All right, coming up, the potentially damaging effects of a settlement with George Floyd's family.
A record $27 million settlement with George Floyd's family. As jury selection is ongoing, the judge was not happy, and the defense says they're gravely concerned. I'm Matt Finn in Minneapolis.
Growing outrage and concern about women's safety in Britain after the killing of a 33-year-old woman who disappeared on her way home late at night. A police officer is charged with kidnapping and murder. This morning, as we're seeing, London police they're being denounced for using force to control a weekend vigil for the woman. Police say the vigil violated COVID-19 lockdown rules. The UK government has called for a review of police tactics that were used at the vigil. So far, 9 jurors have been seated in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who's charged in the death of George Floyd. This as the second week of jury selection gets underway. But questions are now being raised as to whether or not a $27 million settlement between the family and the city could hinder the trial. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn is in Minneapolis with this story.
The attorney defending Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged in George Floyd's death, says he's gravely concerned last week's announcement of a $27 million settlement between the city of Minneapolis and Floyd's family makes it impossible for his client to get a fair trial and possibly taints the jury pool.
The fact that this came in the exact middle of jury selection, it's perplexing to me, Your Honor.
Defense attorney Eric Nelson also asked the judge to delay the trial and raise the possibility of a change of venue.
And I wish people would, city officials would stop talking about this case so much, but at the same time, I don't find any evil intent that they are trying to tamper with this criminal case.
The judge says he'll recall the 7 selected jurors last week and question them about their knowledge of the settlement, even though he ordered them not to follow or do any research on the case. Prosecutor Steve Schleicher says those previously picked jurors already agreed to make their decisions in the case based solely on what they're hearing during the trial. Meanwhile, week 2 of jury selection got underway. The first juror questioned said she heard about that $27 million settlement.
When I heard that, I almost gasped the amount.
That potential juror told the court she did not know if she could ignore what she heard and was immediately excused. There's been a series of unusual developments and twists and turns so far in this case, but the judge is insisting opening arguments will begin on March 29th. In Minneapolis, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Just ahead, realizing internet access, no longer an option.
The pandemic is proving the importance of internet access, but how accessible is it to millions of school kids? I'm Anita Vogel with more on how President Biden's relief bill could help with Wi-Fi woes coming up.
President Biden's coronavirus relief package has $130 billion for saving schools. So where's it going? Fox News correspondent Anita Vogel reports.
I do definitely feel like I'm losing out on a lot of normal high school experiences.
Students across the country are trying to make the best of remote learning. But one thing many of them can't do anything about is a lack of reliable internet access. The COVID relief package could help. $7 billion designated for what's called distance learning, creating an opportunity to equip more students with the necessary tools to learn from home, like internet. Districts in Philadelphia and Baltimore have programs in place for students who need help accessing the web, but they need more funding. Money is also needed in Chicago, where 300,000 kids qualify for free Wi-Fi under a city program, but only a fifth have been able to get it so far, with the pandemic highlighting an often overlooked problem.
We need a city response to close the digital divide that plagues too many of our neighborhoods.
Other states, like Connecticut, have paid for hotspots on mobile devices. But experts say they get bogged down if too many students are using them at once. According to the nonprofit group Common Sense, about 15 million kids needed help getting the internet at the start of the pandemic. Officials estimate as little as 5 million have received it so far through community and school district programs. Anita Vogel, Fox News.
One of history's most iconic places reopening today because of safety precautions lifted. Going to visit The Rock when we come back. San Francisco Bay Island, containing one of America's most infamous prisons, reopens to visitors today. Alcatraz Island, and its now abandoned federal prison that housed some of America's most notorious criminals, reopened after a year's closure. Outdoor areas that we're seeing right now are going to be open to visitors, while access to the interior of the prison will be limited to visitors who sign up for the audio tour. Ferries and the number of tours will also be limited, of course. Reservations must be made in advance, just in case you're curious, making a trip in the future. Masks and social distancing will also be enforced. That's at the top of my list, I think. If not, pretty near the top of my list to go to. As a bit of a history buff, I think that'd be pretty cool. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Changes are coming to the Joplin Globe's weekend publications. I'm Chris Warner. We'll tell you what those changes are and why they're being made.
Republican lawmakers toured the southwest U.S.-Mexico border after a surge of migrants, including thousands of children. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. Why the lawmakers say the Biden administration is not taking the situation seriously enough.
With changes in trends and technology comes changes to habits and schedules. Joplin Globe announced that it will no longer have a Sunday paper starting in April. KOAM's Chris Warner explains what's next for this paper.
Some big changes are coming to how the Joplin Globe handles its weekend publications. There soon will be no Sunday print edition.
Everything that we have in the Sunday paper, including all the comics, the TV section, all the advertising inserts, readers will now get on Saturday instead of Sunday.
Joplin Globe publisher Dale Brendel says the decision was made after considering a number of factors.
Many readers have said that they were sad to see the Saturday print edition go. And so, I'm sure there will be some readers that prefer having it on Sunday and some that prefer having it on Saturday. But we think for the long term that this is the best decision.
Brindle says they've also had readers complain about not having local sports available in print on Saturdays, especially high school football. Gary Campbell and his wife are longtime Globe subscribers, and the Sunday paper has been a tradition for them, a tradition that's going to look a bit different now.
Well, yeah, it will. Yeah. But if we're going to get it on Saturday instead of Sunday, that'll be all right,
Brindle says Sunday news won't go away. It'll just transition.
So, yeah, we're going to have an e-edition online only for Sunday. We're going to call that the Sunday Update, and that will have all the news from Saturday.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Brendel says they expect to see some cost savings with the change. No employees are going to be cut. First weekend edition will be published on Saturday, April 3rd. Joplin City Council today approved contracts for studies to look at the optimal use of resources of the police and fire departments. For the police department, Council approved a contract Edico Solutions for $39,000. That study is expected to be completed in November. For the fire department, Council approved a $37,500 contract with a firm called Canfield Jenkins and Associates. Officials expect that study to be done after June.
This is part of an action plan, which is part of a larger vision to improve service to the community. That's primarily why we're here, to provide that service. And certainly our public safety services are critical services that we need to be mindful of.
Council also looked at a design for a new logo. That design shown today was tabled, with the new design expected to be shown at a later meeting. Vatican decrees that Catholic Church cannot bless same-sex unions. The two-page decree released today and approved by Pope Francis says the Church welcomes and blesses gay people, but cannot bless their unions, since God, quote, cannot bless sin. Catholic teaching holds that marriage between a man and woman is part of God's plan and is intended for the sake of creating new life. Pope Francis has endorsed providing gay couples and same-sex unions with legal protections, but that is for civil protections only. A group of Republican lawmakers traveled from D.C. to the United States-Mexico border to draw attention to what they're calling a crisis. But the Biden administration says they have it all under control and have brought in FEMA to help. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has more from D.C.
A group of congressional Republicans are hoping their trip to the U.S.-Mexico border will draw the attention of the White House. Customs and Border Protection has reported a surge in migrants attempting to cross into the U.S. Thousands of them are children.
This is a human heartbreak. The sad part about all of this, it didn't have to happen.
The Republicans say this situation has become a crisis, and they allege the Biden administration won't admit it.
We recognize this is a big problem. The last administration left us a dismantled and unworkable system, and like any other problem, we are going to do everything we can to solve it.
FEMA has been called in by the administration to help handle the influx of migrant children.
FEMA is there to help ensure that the people who are at the border, who are coming across the border, have access to HHS and ORR shelters.
According to a memo, the Dallas Convention Center will be used to house thousands of migrant teenagers over the next 90 days. The Republicans allege the Biden administration has caused a human tragedy by relaxing the last administration's immigration policies.
There is indeed disorder at the border by executive order.
And they say President Biden has given the migrants false hope and has left them susceptible to human trafficking.
This crisis is created by the presidential policies of this new administration. There's no other way to claim it than a Biden border crisis.
The Republican delegation says they have been told by border officers that some of the migrants are not even from Central America, but instead from the Middle East, Sri Lanka, and Haiti. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
A bit later, several businesses in California reopening today after lockdowns were lifted, but several business owners saying it's too late.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a sunnier day for us today as we got the sunshine back, which it rained for 5 days, which is crazy. But we get to dry out just a little bit before our next storm system rolls right back in. So rainfall for the month, we're at 3¼ inches. For the year, we're at 7½ inches of rain, which is actually quite a bit. Outside right now, great time lapse of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Now, you can see during the morning hours, we had the fog, so we had the moisture on the tower cam, but once the fog burned off and the fog was super thick, then it turned out to be a pretty good day, minus the very strong winds. Temperatures, right now, most of us are sitting into the mid-50s. The winds have diminished a little bit. They're still fairly strong, but it's going to be breezy tonight, and then tomorrow, the winds will kind of slack off just a little bit. We look good, clear skies. We had a few random showers just to our north a couple hours ago, but those are pretty much gone. All these have moved across the northeastern parts of Missouri. This whole storm system, it matured over the past 24 hours, so now it's weakening and it's kind of regenerating, and it will do that to the east of us, but you can see it's really spread out from the Dakotas all the way back toward the eastern seaboard. We don't have to deal with this system anymore, so it's gone. But our next system right behind it, this is out across Southern California. You can see that little chunk of energy. Now, in my pattern, we're in a 46-day cycle. So this system is the one that gave us the severe weather back on January 30th of this year. So this is one we got to watch. It's going to track out very similar. If we had any severe weather with it on Wednesday, it'd be a very short window, maybe a 2-hour window, but still something we want to watch. Tonight's going to be okay. We'll have pretty much clear skies, kind of chilly. It's still a little breezy. We'll drop back to about 42. Quick warm up through the 40s, 50s, 60s by noon, up to 70, 71 during the afternoon. So a very nice Tuesday. Then clouds start to increase for us tomorrow night. Showers, thunderstorms in here after midnight. Some of these could be strong because I do think when they're out west of us, central Kansas, central Oklahoma, they will be severe. They're going to weaken as they work in, but we could still have some strong storms. Scattered thunderstorms through Wednesday morning, and then we'll see a little bit of a break. We may even see a little bit of sunshine. We'll warm up a bit into the 60s, and then especially in southwestern Missouri, mid-late afternoon, we'll get some thunderstorms popping up, and some of those could go severe real quickly and then roll right on out of here. So that's just something we want to watch. And then Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we get showers on the backside of the system back in. May even get a few flakes of snow that try to mix in, which would be kind of crazy, but hey, we get that sometimes in the month of March. Rainfall also kind of heavy. We don't need any right now, but a lot of areas are going to pick up an additional 1 up to 2, maybe isolated 3-inch amounts. Tonight looks okay, 42, 71 tomorrow, 55 tomorrow night, St. Patrick's Day, 67 with those scattered thunderstorms, and then 45 on Thursday, so it really cools down the second half of the week.
As you were saying, those springtime sporadic storms.
Yeah, we got to watch them from about now until about June 10th is our season.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a good night. Coming up in sports, Pitt State baseball closing out its series against Washburn with a doubleheader this evening, plus Moso Lions preparing for their one and only game of the spring. Jacob Leonard is up next with details.
Well, it is game week for Missouri Southern football. The Lions will face Southern Nazarene on Thursday in their only game of the spring and their first game under head coach Atiba Bradley. Missouri Southern football is preparing for the rare game in mid-March.
You away? Huh? Let's go. Let's go. Starting to get used to the fact that nothing is normal, and so you have to adjust.
A lot of us haven't played a real football game since 2019. So we're just happy to get out here and get going.
Nice and smooth. Rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. Yeah! Good rhythm.
It will be the first game for Southern under head coach Atiba Bradley.
I like the energy he has as a coach. I see Coach bouncing around all the time.
Get down and get ready! Get down and get ready!
Bouncing from drill to drill, and I'm really excited to see what we do in the field.
Bradley was introduced as head coach less than 6 weeks ago.
There's a lot of firsts out here. A lot of first-time guys playing. There's a first-time head coach that's been on the sideline for the first time. Stop doing that. No, that don't look good. Going into this, we know there's going to be a ton of mistakes. You're pushing them into your body. You got to push that thing away. But we're excited to learn from them.
Thursday's game is a chance to work out the wrinkles before turning their attention to the real goal of competing in the MIAA.
Don't get me wrong, I want to win every game and I want to win this game, but the most important thing for our football team is fall 2021.
It's good to get our feet wet right now with this spring game, but I'm really looking forward to the games in the fall.
Width is more important than depth. They're not lining up tight to stay tight. They're lining up tight to expand. We just got to make sure we're progressing with our schemes and making sure that we're establishing the culture that we want.
Missouri Southern's game against Southern Nazarene will begin at 3 p.m. on Thursday afternoon in Bethany, Oklahoma. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas finish up their series against Washburn with a doubleheader today. Pitt State dropped the series opener on Sunday, falling 15-14. Game 1 today, another high-scoring game, but Pitt State falls 13-10. Blaine Ohlmeyer goes 2 for 4 with a triple and a pair of RBIs. Game 2 now, Pitt State tries to avoid the 3-game sweep. 2 on for Garrett McGowan in the first. Right fielder knows it's gone. 3-run jack from McGowan. The Gorillas have the first runs of the game. But they get more in the first. Ryan Koval with a man on first. Goes the opposite way, clears the wall in right center for a 2-run homer. Gorillas hit 3 jacks in the first, also got one from Blaine Ohlmeyer. But again, Gorillas not done. Aaron Gerds into right field corner. Scores Cruz Aranda. PSU hangs 7 on Washburn in the first. Ichabods make it tied in the end, but Pitt State wins the finale 9-8. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Today, businesses in Los Angeles County could reopen indoors at limited capacity. That includes gyms, museums, and restaurants. Fox Business Network's Connell McShane has a look at how some restaurants have struggled over the last year. Also an effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom because of the pandemic lockdowns.
Angela Marston moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. Ended up owning a bar in Sherman Oaks called the Pineapple Hill Grill and Saloon, but says she was never political until the day she went viral.
Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me is a slap in my face.
Angela was planning to issue her employees their last paycheck that day, her hand forced by the lockdowns, when she was shocked to discover a movie production crew set up an outdoor dining area right next to her patio, which was closed.
I show up literally, if you can imagine, to give last paychecks and bags of food to my employees right before Christmas. I had to drive through that and see that.
Now she's become a spokesperson of sorts for frustrated small business owners in this state. Brian Avery knows the feeling. His brewery came to our attention when a health inspector appeared to start dancing right after she incorrectly forced him to close. Bravery Brewing sits on the northern border of Los Angeles County, and Brian says the one-size-fits-all policies in the region have backfired in his mind.
You can't fully shut down entire sectors of industry, force people out into unemployment or long-term furloughs without a substantial plan to replace that income that they just lost. That, to me, is absolutely unacceptable.
All of this coming together in the effort to recall California's Governor Gavin Newsom. with Angela leading the charge to collect signatures. And there's real momentum. Organizers claim to have over 2 million names signed. That's more than enough to force an election if verified. In the meantime, business continues where it can.
There finally may be a light at the end of the tunnel for Angela and Brian. Exactly 1 year after this place was shut down, indoor dining is coming back here in LA, albeit at 25% capacity. In Los Angeles, Connell McShane, Fox News.
Going to check out what's happening on Fox TV this week when we come back. There's a lot in store on the Fox TV lineup this week as hit series continue and new series debut. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a preview.
Series premieres, more Masked Singers. Here's what's hot on Fox.
Hen, back away.
First, Monday brings the drama of 911 with a replay of Hen's backstory episode.
We need your help.
Then it's the premiere of the America's Most Wanted reboot hosted by Elizabeth Vargas. Vargas breaks down cases and viewers can help law enforcement solve them. Surprise! Tuesday is the 2-hour event series premiere of Holmes Family Effect with celebrity contractor family Mike, Sherry, and Michael Holmes. The trio rebuilds spaces for those making a difference in their communities, including a school skilled trades program and an entrepreneurial co-op center for minority youth.
Group B is bringing it!
Wednesday, meet Group B on The Masked Singer as the second round of competitors make their introductions. That's followed by Game of Talents hosted by Wayne Brady, with contestants guessing performers' talents for big cash prizes.
Let's go!
Thursday, it's down to the 7 remaining chefs on Hell's Kitchen. Max helps Kat learn to salsa on Call Me Kat. And Last Man Standing brings a flashback with the Baxters getting ready for babies.
Let's go!
Friday, get revved up for another round of WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And Sunday, the families of Fox's Animation Domination lineup bring the laughs with all new episodes. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of fruit trees blooming in Spain. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.